Hello, PitchGround. Welcome back to another session with Deep Sicar of Slazer. My name is Richard Chen, head of content here at PitchGround. I am so excited to have you guys back joining us today as we talk about how you guys can use AI to speed up your digital editing. And the reason why we have these webinars with Deep is because we understand that right now it's a challenging time for a lot of businesses, and especially if you are in e-commerce, if you're a designer, or if you have any type of online business at all where you're always uploading some sort of image. Maybe you're a photographer. Maybe you put together ebooks for people. Whatever you do that involves any type of digital editing, you definitely want to pay attention to today's webinar, because the information that's going to be shared with you will help you save time, will help you save money, and overall help you increase your return on investment on all the work that you do for your clients. So I'm so excited about what we're going to share with you guys today, because this is going to be a game changer for so many people. So Deep, welcome back to our call. Thank you so much for
Hi,
joining us today. How are you
thank
doing?
you, thank you. I'm good. I'm doing good. So
Awesome.
yes, yeah. So basically, so yesterday we spoke a lot about our tool and what it does and what it can do. And today we are going to discuss a few more points, right?
Yep. So today I feel like
Right.
it's important for us to cover, I guess, the challenges that most people face today, especially since they're working from home, right? Because of the whole coronavirus outbreak and pandemic. We need to be able to have businesses continue to function while working from home, and they may not necessarily
Right.
have all the resources available that they would have at maybe their job or maybe at their office, right?
Right. Right. Yeah, and it's a very challenging time right now, especially with very limited access to their machines or to their office. So, and also network connectivity is also not good in some parts of the world, and people are very distant right now, and productivity is getting hampered a lot. So, I think our tool can really help out with these challenges, and can really boost the workflow, because at the end of the day, people need to like deliver the quality work, and there can never be a compromise. So I think our tool will do a fine job with that.
Perfect. So I believe you have something to show us today. Let's
Oh
begin.
yeah, sure. So let me just share, Richard.
So in the top right, you can hit share
Yeah,
screen. Yeah.
I got it. Just that I have to give permission from my.
So while Deep is setting up the presentation, if you guys are joining us today and you're wondering what Slazar is, it's a AI-based, cloud-based background removal tool that will help streamline your image processing by removing backgrounds from your images, so that way your audience, whatever you're selling, can look at exactly what you're trying to portray. So if you guys are selling on e-commerce, or if you guys are doing maybe like portrait for your customers, portrait photos for your customers. This is great because now you can start substituting backgrounds. You can do so many different things with the Slazar platform. And one of the things that I enjoy the most about it is the fact that you can do bulk uploads. So instead of editing one photo at a time, you can take all your photos first, send it into Slazar, let it process, and then you guys can download all of that at one shot. And not only is it cloud-based, you guys also get a Windows and Apple app too. So a lot of flexibility for those of you guys out there who are using maybe MacBook Pros. I'm a Windows guy, so let's see how many of you guys are Windows users, how many of you guys are Mac users. But so much flexibility with the Slazar platform, and I believe we're about to begin. You just need to full
Yeah.
screen, and we should be ready to go.
Okay. All right. Oops. Hello.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Oh,
basically,
I see the
yeah.
PowerPoint page. Yeah, there you go.
All right. So basically, today I would like to start with how Photoshop handles this work, and what are the pros and cons. Okay. So, well, we all know about Photoshop, right? And it is one of the oldest tools. And it was when it came out, it was a very big game changer, right? But I want to share a few points about Photoshop. the average installation time of Photoshop is around 5 hours. Okay, so that's a lot of time to set up Photoshop in your machine. Okay, and you would need to have some technical knowledge about it, or you would need a technician to do it for you. So that's pretty difficult for a layman to do it. Also, to run a Photoshop software, you would need at least 8 GB of RAM, which retails for around $50 to $60. So that's an additional cost. Okay. And learning Photoshop takes about 5 hours of time. And that too, I'm talking about the very basic stuff where you can just remove the image background, or you can add a color to it, or add a image to it.
Right.
So that's a very big problem with Photoshop as compared to our tool, where you don't need to do all these things. You can just come and upload the photo and let the AI do everything for you while you sit back and relax. Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next the next pain point that I want to talk about is how do we edit the image using Photoshop. So the average image editing time in Photoshop is around 120 hours, right? And sometimes it's even more, especially with those tricky images where it's very difficult for the hair or for the edges of the image. It's very difficult, and it takes a lot of effort, and it's very time consuming, and it is like very frustrating to do so. And with any human being, we are all bound to make mistakes. So all these problems are there, and especially when you're doing batch images, it's a very time taking process, and can suck and drain the energy completely out of you.
Exactly.
Right. So how do we help out? So as you can see with Slasher.com, it's very simple. You just take your image, you upload it, and you get a clean, transparent background. Now after that, if you're looking to upload, put a different background image, you can do that. If you want to put a background color, you can do that. So all these things you are doing without having to know Photoshop or installing Photoshop, or having to learn about like how the editing software works. So anybody can do that, and it saves you a lot of your time, because right now time is money. So the more time you save, the more productivity you can increase, and you can spend your time doing other things that have been left out. So you can focus on those things as well.
That makes a lot of sense. I know that for some of my clients who do e-commerce, especially with eBay, Amazon, they spend a lot of time either hiring a third-party person to Photoshop their docs, or I mean their
Mhm.
images, and
Mhm.
the turnaround sometimes takes up to 3 days, right? And if you're selling something and it's in demand, the last thing you want to do is wait, right? You waited long enough to produce the item. You waited long enough to ship it to your warehouse, and now
Right.
you're just sitting around trying to make money. And that's the last thing any
Right.
business owner wants to do right now, especially during these uncertain times. People need to make
Right.
money like right now. They actually need to make money yesterday, right? So that's why it's
Yeah, they need
important
to
to be able to turn
they need
around.
to money.
Yeah,
Turnaround time is very like less compared, like just a few seconds. Like, and the best part is that you don't have to like learn about editing, because learning about editing is very tough, and it's very difficult when, especially when you're using that magic wand or the pen tool and you're cutting through those images. Okay, so it's very straining on your like body as well, and also on your eyes. So you're saving all that pain. So the next,
totally.
yeah, yeah, the next slide that I want to talk about is how does the manual process versus the AI process. So as I was saying, the manual process is like it's like you will make a lot of errors. Okay, it will take a lot of your time, your money. It will cost you more money, because in today's date, if a person were to hire somebody who's a layman who doesn't know about Photoshop, they would need to hire a designer, and they're very expensive as well, because they are also putting a lot of their effort on creating those images for you. So automatically, the money is increased, and it's frustrating because they have to do the same repetitive work, especially with batch image editing when they're editing, let's say, thousands of images. So they will make errors. Then again, their effort will go. So all these problems are there with the manual process. Now AI is there to make our life easier, right?
Yep.
So that is what the main point of AI is, right? So our AI does it in 5 seconds. right? So, and it not only just one image. I'm talking about like it can handle maximum thousands and thousands of images, and it will work 24/7 without any food or rest. So it doesn't require anything. You just give the images, and it will do the job for you. And when you come back again, you see all the images are done, and then you can start.
So I want to touch base about AI right now for a second because I feel like a lot of
Sure.
people don't understand how AI works. So with
Right.
AI, it learns over time based on
Mm.
people's engagement with the platform. Am I correct?
Yeah. So with AI, there is artificial intelligence, and also we are using machine learning. So what is happening is that as the images it is processing, it is constantly updating itself, it's constantly learning the process, and it is making itself better with every second that it is processing those images. So so what happens is that like like a human brain, if you see like a child basically learns from watching his surroundings. So the AI also is working in the same way, you know, and it will not make mistakes because it is it is a computer. So a computer will not make any mistakes. We can make a lot of mistakes, but AI will never make mistakes.
So that's important to know about how over time, as more people use Laser, the
Right.
the processing basically gets better and faster.
Yes, the processing is very fast, and it just takes like 5-7 seconds, and you can give the output of the image can be as much as till 25 megapixels, so it can handle a lot of load. Otherwise, suppose if I go to a design company and I wanted to get some images done, they would have charged me ton of money, and they would have taken a lot of time. Now, for all those things, the AI doesn't need that amount of time. If a human is doing it in 1 hour, the AI will do it in few minutes.
Right.
Right. I just okay. Now for a file compatibility part, like we are only supporting JPEG and PNG at this moment, but we will also give out other file formats like WebP and JIJF. Okay, and other formats also. For now, it is JPG and PNG formats that you can upload at Slazer, and you can get the outputs in these two formats also.
Awesome. I think that fits the needs for most people.
Yeah, JPG and PNG are the two basic file types. PNG is basically RGBA and JPG is RGB. So these are the two basic and most widely used file formats. And WebP is also there, but WebP is not as widely used as JPEG or PNG. But we will give very soon support for WebP format also. Now, I want to talk about how we can help the e-commerce people. Now, e-commerce sellers, they have to work with ton of images, right?
Right.
And they have to keep on updating their collection, so they have multiple images. Okay, and it keeps on increasing. Okay, as their store increases, their amount of images also increases. Now, for them, right now they have to do batch editing. So what they do is that their options are very limited. They have to reach out to a graphic. They either have to hire a graphic designer in house, or they have to reach out to a private firm who does it for them. And for before that, they have to go to a green studio setup. They have to hire a studio to get those photos. Okay, so that the editor whosoever is editing or removing the background, they can do it with perfection. That is another drawback of a human being, because we cannot be perfectly, like, without the green screen. It's very difficult for a human being to edit the photo with absolute perfection. And a green screen studio setup charges somewhere between $50 to $150. So that's a lot of money, and you have to book it for a minimum of 3 to 4 hours. So that becomes either from 150 to $450. Now this is just to get your images done. Now after the images are done, then you have to go to this clipping services, which will charge you at least a bare minimum of $5 to $7 per image. So as you can understand, Richard, the amount is going up and up. Okay,
Right.
and then the amount of time is also there, because today you cannot go to any clipping in a person and you can tell them, there's nobody, like, a human being cannot do this. You cannot tell the human being that, I'm giving 1,000 images, you give it to me in few minutes. It is not possible for the human, because
I
one
agree.
image will take at least to be like if I think about very minimum, it will take you at least 20 minutes. So if you imagine for 1,000 images, it will become a lot of time. And
Yep.
then I want to talk about the API. So right now, everybody wants solutions that are instant, that are very quick, right? In today's date, we don't want to go to multiple places and then gather the images, collect the images, then again upload it into the site. For this, we are having our API. Okay. So if they integrate, the API will directly integrate with any application, any e-commerce website, and a ton of images will be uploaded to them, and the API will again give it back with all the backgrounds removed. If you want color also, you can add the color. If you want a specific image background that you have, you can even share that with the API. The API will give you with all with that background or the color as you choose.
No, that's a pretty good feature.
So this is, sorry, Richard, your voice is cracking a bit.
I
Hello.
said that's a really good feature.
Yeah. Thank you. So we are giving the desktop app also and the API. So these are two ways right now where the e-commerce sellers can benefit. They can save a lot of their money, and most big thing is that they can sell quickly online because they have to get online soon because they are with their computers. They have their sales, okay, which are going up. People are in demand, so they need to quickly up their products, right? If they don't do that, then they miss out on the opportunity because it's a very competitive world, right?
Right.
So we address all these issues, and if you see our pricing, it's way cheaper. So first of all, you can throw this green screen studio. You would never require that. You can just take the photo anywhere because we will separate the background anyhow. So we don't require a green screen. It is a thing of the past. We really don't need that. Okay. So we save a lot of money on this, particularly this much, and then this. This is a huge charge as well. And then the accuracy has to be poor because when a human being is doing 1,000 images, they will make errors. Okay, it can never be error free. So again, you have to go back to them, you have to tell them, to fix the errors. So all these particular problems will exist, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
And you mentioned an
So
important thing earlier too. Let's say you are doing this currently on your own through Photoshop. You're gonna be staring at the
yeah.
screen for quite a while, so you can actually put a lot of strain on your eyes, and
Yes.
it's very
As I
boring.
said earlier, yeah, it's very
Let's
frustrating.
just
It's boring. It's frustrating, and it's killing. Like I know about a few designers, okay, who are working with me, okay, and when they have to, like earlier when they had to edit images, that is one of the reasons we started this, because it was very troublesome for them,
right.
and the output was not good because whenever they used to work under pressure, they would make mistakes, okay, and it would take so much time for them, you know and that production the productivity was very poor. So this is how we can really help out. We can make a difference because we are going to save the time and money and add more value to the business.
Exactly. Spend your time doing the more important things, like
Yeah, because
selling
they
your
are
product.
yeah. Like they have to sell their product, right? So that's the, like, they can worry about the marketing. There's so many other things that are involved in the business, right? So they can worry about that and less about the images. Okay, so I'll go to the next slide now. How do we help out people who are in the marketing field? So especially like like everybody's gone digital right now. So if you are a brand or a new product, you have to go digital, right? Otherwise, you won't be able to conquer the market, right? So for this to build the user engagement or to generate any kind of traffic, we have to create good stunning images, right? That will separate us from the rest, right?
Yep.
So for that, images, if we are going to, let's talk about a particular company, let's say a digital marketing firm. When they are handling multiple clients, they're doing also multiple experiments for those clients. So they don't have those time to work on the images. And for that, right now, presently, they have to rely on graphic designers or image editors to manually solve this problem. But again, the time and money is a big time issue and the productivity is very less. So by the time they are launching their campaign, it is already, a lot of time has already gone by, and the most of the time is going by with the graphic designers and image editors because they have to do it manually because they don't have a solution yet that
Right.
can really help them out, right?
Yep.
So that is one way, the marketing people and the social media people can really benefit from this tool, because they can really quicken up the process. They can garner more clients in that period of time, as opposed to right now working with the manual process.
Yep. Sounds
Yeah.
like we got someone really excited there in the background.
Oh yeah, actually, this is like because like our prime minister, he has told everybody that make noise in the evening. Okay, so yeah, so that is one way of like communicating, because everybody is right now in quarantine.
Right.
So we are kind of appreciating that we have a positive energy towards it.
That's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, so back to the topic. So right now, and the other thing is that the people, the layman people, they can also benefit. So suppose, like if I am in a marketing field and I have no idea about graphic design or image editors, earlier for me it would not have been possible. I would have to learn Photoshop or other editor tools, and they're very complex because Photoshop is not very simple to learn, by the way. So right now I don't need that. With Slasher, I can just upload the image, and there's no coding, there is no pen tool, there is nothing. So I can just do it by myself. So I don't also have to rely on a lot of people. You know, I
Yep.
can like get more productivity with the less amount of people. So I don't have to have a very huge team of graphic designers, image editors, right?
Yep.
Okay. So now I would like to talk about how we can empower people, okay, who do not know Photoshop, and how can the individuals benefit from it. Because people are also posting in social media from day to day. There are a lot of shutterbugs out there. Now they also can take help of a tool. They don't have to use Photoshop again. They can just use Slasher. They upload their images. They get the background removed. Choose the background that they want. Add the colors or background image. Okay, and then they can just create stunning images, and they can upload that and share that with their friends and family via social media, and they can really garner a lot of engagement for that.
That makes a lot
So
of sense.
yeah, so we are actually, if you see, we are actually helping a lot of people. So the e-commerce people are getting benefited, the social media marketing people are getting benefited, the individuals are getting benefited, the photographers are getting benefited. Because I would like to talk about the photographers, because the maximum time of the photographers goes into image editing, because if when they are done with the shoot, they have to edit the images themselves. So that time that they're involving in that actually takes a lot of their time from their table, and they cannot be productive, because they can right now using Slasher, they can use that time to gather more clients or do more shoots, and
Exactly.
make more and more money, because the time that you're spending on editing, that time is getting lost to you, and you can use that hefty amount of time to get more and more clients in the market. And it's all about being first, and so your time is money to you. The more you save, the more better it is, and the more money you can make, right?
Yep.
Right. So now I would talk about how we can also help out other image editing apps or other people who are developing. Now, without technology, earlier it was very difficult, because right now, if somebody has to do it, they have to have deep knowledge, in-depth knowledge about deep learning, machine learning, and computer vision. So right now with our API, you don't need to do that. You can just integrate it directly with, let's say you are building a very cool augmented reality app. So you can introduce that feature into it, or you are building a virtual reality app. So you can introduce this cool feature into it, or and use it kind of this feature to gather more audiences, you know and also for the people who are designing the UI UX, okay, for them it is also a very helpful tool, because they don't need to they can ditch the Photoshop. They can easily use our tool and separate the backgrounds from logos and graphic design posters as well, and then they can apply that. And
Well,
we
that's
also,
huge. Yeah.
yeah, so we will also work on logos, okay, so they can easily separate the background from there, and they can easily quicken up the process basically, and get more productive, because yeah.
Especially if you're in like UX or UI, and you want to
Yeah.
create multiple mock-ups, now you can just simply swap out the background, right? Instead of
Yeah. Yeah.
manually redoing everything over and over. I think
Right.
that's big. Like if you're working with a brand and you want to sell them a design that you're making, now you
Right.
can just simply do it by swapping out the background with like
Yeah.
templates that you already have
Yeah,
and
with the pre-built
demonstrate it
template,
to the
we
client.
are already having it. Now, let's say like as a user, you might not like the pre-built templates. Okay, it can happen. So we also have that option that you can give the image that you want. You can give your own custom image, and make it more personalized towards your clients or towards your customers. So so that you have a more strong personalized relation. So all these things are being done without without any effort. So the only effort that is needed from the human side is to upload the image. So that is the only effort that's required. And the rest, everything is done with the AI.
I think something really cool that somebody can do with this, with your API, is by integrating with like a cell phone and do a
Yeah.
AR type of thing where, let's say you want to change the color of of your walls, right? Instead of, so I have
Yeah.
white walls, as you can see behind me.
Right.
Imagine like
Right.
I say, well, you know what? I want to see what it looks like if I use like blue or red or whatever. I
Right.
think that's
Exactly.
huge. If somebody uses your platform to do that,
Yeah.
they can
They can
make
easily
so
do
much
that with
money.
the
'Cause now they can partner with like paint companies like Benjamin Moore or
Mhm.
whatever you guys have. That's a big brand in your area. I think so. That's like $1 million idea. If you guys get it, send me 1% check. I'll be okay with it.
Sure, sure, sure. We'll definitely do that. That's a very nice idea. So like
Yeah,
this, there are a lot of things. There's like limitless like possibilities. There's so many possibilities that can happen. So because in today's date, image is everything. We are still working with images. So everywhere, every kind of app that we open into, or every kind of website that we go into, or even if we search online in Google, we will come across plenty of images, right? So that's something that is always going to be there. So we have created this tool for to help you out with those images. How can you make those images more personalized, more customized, but without having to use Photoshop or other editor tools, so that you save that time, you save that energy, and most importantly, also you save your money as well.
that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's it for today. So thank you, Richard.
Well,
So
thank you
any
for joining us. I think this is a amazing presentation that you shared with us today. I definitely believe that this makes your platform so much better than a lot of, I guess you could say, your competitors out there, because you have so much more functionality behind your product.
Yeah, and
From
we will be adding more and more functionality going forward, because I saw a lot of users have been asking for more and more feedback. So we're working. We just launched and we'll be adding more and more features into editor, so that it gives exactly the kind of output that they want. So our ultimate goal is that people come to our site and they get everything from there. They don't ever have to go to Photoshop, because I have seen I've used Photoshop, and I didn't like it at all, because it's very frustrating. And there are a lot of other
exactly.
things you can do with Photoshop, but when it comes to image editing or removing the background, it is one tiresome job that I would never want to do. Yeah.
So basically, just to recap our entire conversation, in case you guys didn't catch the whole thing, the first thing that we talked about today was about Photoshop, how it's very difficult and time-consuming to put the software onto your computer to begin with. And not only that, you're paying a subscription fee now to Adobe through Creative
Right.
Cloud
Oh, yeah.
just to
Yes.
maintain that service. And it's $21 USD
Mhm.
for me in New York.
Not
I don't
bad.
know if the pricing is different in other countries, but
Yeah.
feel free to look it up, guys. We always encourage you guys to explore other options, see what these costs are, so that way you
Mhm.
can actually see the value behind what we're sharing with you today.
Right.
So
Right.
not only that, once you do, let's say, afford the $21 a month subscription, you do have the computer, you do have everything
Yeah.
that
You have
meets
to
its
accept that.
recommended specifications.
Yeah.
Now you're
Yes.
investing your time into editing these photos. And on average, it takes somebody about an hour to masterfully edit an image and remove the background. Now, I'm not talking about just using the lazy magic wand, because once you use a magic wand, especially if you have a complex image, like Deep said earlier, where you're doing
Right.
like the hair, notice that the
Right.
gaps between the hair in my hair right here, right?
Yes.
There's
Yes.
going to be
Exactly.
background behind that. And typically, Photoshop won't automatically take that out for you. So you have to actually go in there and manually go between all the pixels just to edit that out. And if you don't have a high megapixel photo, that's gonna be very challenging, because then what ends up happening is I'll look like I'm missing a chunk of my head. Right?
Yeah.
So I've done that many times before. It's very, very frustrating. And the beauty about machine learning is it knows better. It says, oh,
Yeah.
you know what? He has black hair. The white background shouldn't be there. Right?
Right.
So that's why that's huge. You'll get that clean background. And let's say the AI doesn't give you the perfect result. You can just go back in there and quickly tell them, hey, you know, I want this piece of his head back. Can you give that back to me? And the AI will learn over time, the more you use it, how to
Right.
best produce the results that you want. So the output that we will have will be in JPEG and PNG, and that's the same for input. There are other items on the roadmap, so I guess that's a question for you, Deep. Is there going to be a public roadmap that people can see?
Yeah, so we'll give the public roadmap by Monday. So then we'll be rolling out a lot of features inside the API. So we'll be making a lot of changes in the editor, and we will also give a lot of plugins for people who are in the e-commerce industry, especially in WordPress and WooCommerce, so that they can do it directly from their WordPress CMS system. So without having to come to a site or anything like that. And we'll also be giving out this feature where people can get HD resolution from the website itself. Because right now they have to download either the apps, desktop apps, or go to the API. But they can also do it from the website.
Okay, sounds good. And then continuing on, let's see. We also talked about. I'm just looking at some of my notes right now. We just talked about like graphic designers,
Yeah,
cost, right? That's
yeah,
a very expensive problem to have.
yeah.
Also turnaround time, right? So whether
Yeah.
you use Fiverr, whether you use some sort of other third-party
Freelancer
outsourcing,
for
it takes
for-
time, right? These guys will tell you like, "Hey, I need at least 3 days to turn around your project,
and
even if it's
for-
only one image."
right.
So the beauty about Slazer is, A, you do it yourself, right? So you're not waiting on anybody. B, it's really quick. It takes on average, I think he said 5 seconds,
Right.
and you do bulk processing. So instead of saying, well, let me drag and drop one image at a time with a lot of other products out there on the market, you can
Right.
upload all your images at the same time and just download it whenever it's ready.
Right.
Uh, and the best part is it lowers the barrier to entry for people who don't have Photoshop, who don't have design skills, who don't want to learn how to use the product, right? Because if you guys are entrepreneurs, the last thing you want to do is become the jack of all trades. I know that's a very hypocritical statement, because that's usually how we start out. But the whole point of being an entrepreneur is to scale, it's to grow. So you don't want to have to add to your plate. Instead of adding to your plate, you should focus on your value proposition, what you're really good at, and then start delegating that work to other people. And the last thing you want to do is learn how to use Photoshop, because that takes
Yeah.
hours on
I would
end
say
to
5
master.
hours.
Right.
That's 5 hours. That's for people who are really, really good. For normal people, it might be 7 hours also, because Photoshop is like really, really. There are a lot of features in it,
Yep.
and it is not very simple to.
We also talked about the API, which I think is huge. I gave you guys an example. If you use if you're like a mobile phone AR app developer and you integrate with Slazer and you decide to do cool stuff with the background, that's huge. I think that by itself, uh, especially once we go live with a lifetime deal on Tuesday, that will help you guys make a ton of money and deliver a type of experience that no other product out there on the market currently has. So I'm actually really excited to see what people do with that. So if you guys are developers out there in the AR, VR world, let's connect. Let's talk about it. I think that's something that we could definitely explore and see what we can do with it. And that's just one use of the API. There's probably hundreds of uses for this API. I'm not a developer. I'm going to just be upfront with that. I'm not a developer, so I probably can't even dream of all these use cases. But if you guys are developers, please join the conversation. Let us know how you would use Slazer in your business, in your app, in how you would implement it in your design process. So uh, since that ends our presentation for today, I definitely want to encourage you guys to join us next week on Monday, where we're going to dive into all the different features of Slazor, actually start to talk about the breakdown of how each feature works, from what's the most you can upload, are there any caps, are there any restrictions. We're going to answer all those questions for you guys. And then on Tuesday, when we go live, we're going to live demo how to use Slazor on the fly. So if you guys have images that you want to like test drive, feel free to
Yeah.
send it in to me on PitchGround. Find me in any of the posts, message me, send me the image, or you guys can come on live and start pushing out those image requests right away, and we'll do it for you. Find us an image. We're not gonna pre-select images, right? Because I know sometimes people say, "Oh, you picked an easy image." Like, oh, we'll just do whatever you want us to
You
do.
can just do
And
whatever.
yeah, totally. And by doing so, now we have the ability to help you guys see the power behind Slicer. So, Deep, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited for what you're going to be showing us next week.
Sure, sure. Same here. Same here.
Take care. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Yeah. Bye.